countries, who even knows how much they're happening, because they don't even keep good statistics. 1,000 women a fucking year dying in honor killings in one fucking Muslim country of Pakistan. I mean, fuck me. You're gonna sit there and say that these are feminist fucking countries? You're gonna say that Islam promotes feminism? I mean, just give me a fucking break. Islam promotes fucking feminism like I promote good dental hygiene with my fucked up, crooked, yellow ass fucking teeth. Pakistan. I've heard people call it Pakistan. Fuck you guys. It could be Pakistan, it could be Pakistan. Who gives a shit? Amazing.
That's some good stuff I sold you.
But
put it to good use.
I think Obama says Pakistan. Here's another story about our good friends, the fucking Muslims. Foreign men blamed after mass sex assault at music festival. Youngest victim just 12 years old. Swedish police have received 35 complaints from young women after foreign young men with an appearance of gay rampage sexually assaulted young girls they found there. The actual number of girls attacked during the weekend festival was thought to be much higher. There are thought to be multiple complaints. Police started to receive reports from young women during the Kalstad Puti I Parkin party in the park on Friday and Saturday nights. Reported Svenska Dagbladet with 24 received during the festival and another 11 reported after. The complaints are understood to focus on children being kissed and groped on the chest and buttocks, according to the police source. Early reports in Sweden's mainstream press, including best-selling Aftonbladet newspapers, identified the assailants as unknown males. However, as victims and witnesses have come forward to clear of systematic violence against the bird. Now it talks about some 15-year-old girl going to dance things, and so she went to the bouncer, and the bouncer said they can't help. They said that's what happens at the festival. You know, I have to say that I'm a little bit conflicted on this one because Sweden does tend to be one of the most feminist countries out there. So I can kind of see that at a music festival where people are often pressed together and shit, and yes, there's drunk guys groping girls and shit there. I've seen it at when I've been to music festivals myself. I've fucking had fucking sweaty ass man flesh pressed against me. I've seen girls getting crowd surfing, a bunch of dudes grabbing their tits and asses and shit. So I don't think that this is something exclusive to like this foreign Muslim element happening here. And I can see how maybe these girls are oversensitive to this kind of shit because they're raised in such a hyper-feminist culture, so every time some guy presses up against their butt, they think it's fucking rape or some shit. But at the same time, we've seen this sort of report coming out of Germany and many other countries where the Muslim minds are saying they're very sexually aggressive towards girls and women. So I'm sure that that's also true, but just knowing that I'm dealing with feminists on one side and Muslims on the other, I'm kind of just like, I don't really know who I trust here. So I take that one with a bit of a grain of salt, but still, interesting story. Let's talk about some Muslims getting their asses beat. There's some Muslims getting brutally beaten outside of a Brooklyn mosque. The mosque director requested the police to increase their protection. Two Muslims were viciously beaten outside a Brooklyn mosque on Sunday morning. Mosque director Mohammed Bey said the assailants screamed, "You fucking terrorist!" Aged 16 and 17 which took place outside of the Muslim Community Center. Was the Muslim Community Center open at 1:18 Jesus. After repeatedly denying this incident, the Department spokesman told BuzzFeed non-biased. Blah, blah, blah. So basically, there were two teenagers. They were Muslims. Some guy came up to them and said, "You fucking terrorist." I don't know if it was one guy or how many it was, but yeah, I guess it was a single assailant. This was a pretty badass dude to kick the shit out of two other guys. But yeah, I mean, no one should be going around fucking attacking random Muslims and saying you're a terrorist. You know, that goes fucking without saying. And it seems like this kind of shit is happening more and more. There was a Muslim doctor that was shot and stabbed outside of a mosque in Texas. Witnesses say the victim was ambushed by three men on the foot outside
I want to get out of here.
Mosque in Houston. A Muslim man on his way to morning prayer has been shot and stabbed outside of a mosque in Houston, Texas. Muhammad Imadou, I guess, a spokesperson for the Madrasa Islamia Masjid Nur Mosque near Bel Air, told local news agencies that the victim was a doctor who parked along the street before walking to the mosque before the morning service. Witnesses said the victim was approached by three masked men on foot before being stabbed without warning. One of the individuals pulled a gun and shot him before the three attackers fled from the scene. The doctor is in intensive care, and he's expected to survive. There's no motive for this attack. I think the motive is probably pretty clear. Maybe these are three guys that had some sort of problem with this doctor. On these Muslims, need to show them what for. No, you're just as bad as a terrorist that you hate. So don't go beat the shit out of Muslims, don't stab Muslims, don't shoot Muslims unless they're fucking coming at you or something. Speaking of Muslims and violence, Istanbul and the empathy gap. Why was the West's response muted compared to Paris or Brussels? And they're wondering aloud, I'll read the first paragraph. Even at cursory glance at social media and the 24-hour news cycle, and after the carnage in Orlando, Brussels, and Paris revealed outrage and solidarity, televisions were teeming with stories and images of the unconscionable horror, and social networks were flush with hashtags, memes, and flags. As the atrocities began to mount in Istanbul only days ago after another suicide attack, they were surely certain to elicit similar coverage and sympathy. For remorse over the loss of life isn't contingent on its location. Yet in the aftermath of Istanbul's terror attacks, the only thing trending on Facebook were Cheetos, Taylor Swift, and a man who had jumped into a pool filled with Coca-Cola and Mentos. These 41 dead and 239 injured couldn't even crack the top 10. So why is that? They contingent on its location. Yet in the aftermath of Istanbul's terror attacks, the only thing trending on Facebook were Cheetos, Taylor Swift, and a man who had jumped into a pool filled with Coca-Cola and Mentos. These 41 dead and 239 injured couldn't even crack the top 10. So why is that? They speculate that there's a... this is their explanation. Our brains are wired to feel more empathy for people who look like us. Luckily, we're capable of closing the gap. That's not it. That's not it. You'll remember that when there were tsunamis in Japan and in other parts of Asia and shit, we've always helped them with tremendous amounts of aid and felt sympathy and all that stuff. We didn't say, oh, they're Japanese, so we just can't empathize with them, or they're Asian, so we can't empathize with them. The reason that Istanbul doesn't get the empathy that Paris does, or Brussels does, or Orlando does. The reason is simply because Istanbul is a Muslim country, and we kind of look at it and say, well, your own religion has done this to you. I think that most people, when they hear about this, they hear about Muslims killing Muslims, and it's just no surprise to them. It's no surprise to hear about violence in the Islamic world, because violence in the Islamic world is par for the course. When that violence spills over and starts affecting people who have nothing to do with it, that's when we're our most outraged. Now, I understand that intellectually, probably these victims in Istanbul had nothing to do with terrorism. They were not terrorists themselves. They probably didn't support terrorism. But do they adhere to the same religion that those terrorists do? Do they prop up as holy a book that is full of reprehensible moral teachings? Yes, they do. Yes, they fucking do. And it is from that book terrorism springs. So I think it's harder for people to feel empathetic towards them. I think it's also, I mean, it's the same way with in black neighborhoods, you know, the gang violence and shit. You hear about, you know, some gangbangers shooting some other gangbangers, you know, it's not a big news story. You're not sitting there fucking crying about it because it's black on black violence. It's so fucking normal. You're so anesthetized to it that it's almost meaningless. It almost passes by unremarked upon or uncared about. Now, you could sit there and say that's not how it should be. And maybe you're right, but that's how it is. And that's why. It wasn't because, I mean, like, look at this person. This person doesn't, I'm not looking at these people and saying, like, they're too foreign from me, so I feel no empathy for them. I'm incapable of caring about their plight because they just look too different. That's not it. It's because I know that they're Muslim, that they hold the same beliefs that the terrorists do, just to a lesser fucking extent. And that's why it's harder to sympathize, because we almost view them as part of the fucking problem. Not even almost. We do view them as part of the problem. And a lot of people can say that's victim blaming, but hey, if the fucking glove fits. So here, enough of the fucking heavy Islam shit. Let's do a lighter story. Disney is under fire for making Moana character obese. I guess they're making a movie with some Polynesian characters, and one of them is a fucking fat guy. I mean, you could tell he's clearly also fucking muscular and tough, but they don't like the fact that he's also fat. Pacific Islanders are upset over Disney's portly depiction of demigod Maui in the studio's upcoming animated film Moana. Here's the meme wherein people are pissed. They say 3 hottest men in Hollywood are Polynesian, but Disney's Polynesian Maui is half pig, half hippo. So, I think the one on the top you can't see because it's kind of blocked. That's Roman Reigns, who's a fucking WWE wrestler, not a fucking Hollywood star. There's The Rock, who I guess he was a WWE wrestler. Now he's not. Now he's a Hollywood star. And then this guy, I don't even know who the fuck that is. So I don't know how the 3 hottest men in Hollywood. Yeah, I mean, there are people saying Moana should be used to break Polynesian stereotypes, and it's kind of hard to break the obese/overweight one with Maui that robust. Here's another one of these fucking fake things where a kid said something, so we're supposed to take it as gospel. Dad, why did they make Moana so skinny and Maui so fat? Where to start? Gender, race, culture, power? No, how about you just start it like, that's just how the fucking character was designed, you stupid piece of shit. There's fat people in real life. I mean, like, these are the same kinds of whiny fuckers who normally they'd be fucking saying, like, yeah, we need more body-positive representations of men and women. We need more body-inclusive shit. And now, when there's a fat character, because there's a racial stereotype about people being fat from the Polynesian, you know, from the Pacific Islands and shit, which they are, by the way. Tons of them are really fat. But when there's a stereotype, then they're like, no, he should be fucking svelte, skinny, totally sexually attractive, fucking, you know, dynamo of awesomeness. So, yeah, at least there's one guy here that wasn't offended. He said, Moana character Maui gives a dark-skinned fat guy like me a perfect cosplay opportunity. Thanks, at The Rock. So there we go. At least one guy likes it. Fucking crybabies. You're never going to please these fucking crybabies, man. So here's a poll that finds that Americans don't think Clinton or Trump will be good president. Well, no fucking shit. No fucking shit, America. You don't fucking say. Whoever wins the November election will undoubtedly face great challenges, but according to a new poll, the next president won't enter the White House saddled with great expectations from the voters. A Quinnipiac University national poll on Wednesday found that majorities of Americans believe neither Hillary Clinton nor Donald Trump will be a good president. 58% of voters say that Trump would not be a good president, and only 35% say he would be a good president. Meanwhile, 53% say Clinton would not be a good president, and 43% say she will. So, in the case of both of these people, majorities of Americans do not believe that either of these motherfuckers would be a good president of the United States. And I read another poll just the other day that said something like 80-something% of Democrats would prefer a third term of Obama over a Hillary Clinton presidency. And that's not because they're just brimming with love for Obama. It's just that they realize that Clinton is such a weak candidate, such a non-compelling candidate, that they most of them would just rather another Obama term. You know, they'd rather just have, you know, let's just do what we've been doing. You know, they're not excited about this change whatsoever. Why should they be? Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. All right, so another thing is USA Today Suffolk poll, Clinton's lead over Trump narrows to 5 points. Democrat Hillary Clinton's lead over Republican Donald Trump has narrowed to 5 percentage points. New USA Today Suffolk University poll finds groundbreaking presidential election that is sparking feelings of alarm for most voters. So yeah, I mean, there were a bunch of people a couple weeks ago saying, like, we can count Trump out, Hillary's got it in the bag, but these polls are narrowing. Trump seems to constantly be going up and down in the polls. And you know what? This stupid Star of David bullshit, I would not be surprised if that helps Trump. I think most Americans who look at that news story can see that the media is trying to play games, is trying to spin things to where, oh, you know, look at Trump, he's an anti-Semite. I think most Americans are going to be scratching their heads at that shit, and it's probably going to help Trump get more support because it feeds into his narrative that the media is corrupt and is biased against him because, of course, the media is corrupt and biased against him. I mean, it's totally fair. Don't be surprised if Trump is the next president. Don't be fucking surprised. It's anyone's game at this point. Don't let anyone tell you it's a shoe-in for Clinton. It's not a fucking shoe-in for Clinton. If the debates happen and the polls start splitting really wide, they just get too far apart, it's unbelievable fucking margin, you know, she's up 10 points or something, then by all means, you can call it for Hillary. You might still be wrong, but you're probably right at that point. But now, when there's only 5 points between them, in one of the biggest national polls, I think it's pretty safe to say that this is anyone's fucking contest. Donald Trump can still win this thing. Don't let anyone convince you that he can't, because he fucking can. This is Gary Johnson, the libertarian, says that Trump says racist things and should be disqualified from the presidency. That doesn't seem like a very libertarian position, does it? That someone should be disqualified from the presidency for being racist? I thought libertarians were all about the open marketplace of ideas. So Libertarian presidential nominee Gary Johnson said Donald Trump says racist things and should be disqualified for becoming president for saying that he is looking at replacing employees at the Transportation Security Administration who are Muslim and wear hijabs. He has said 100 things that would disqualify anyone else from running for president, but that doesn't seem to affect him. He said it's racist, you know. You disqualify him. I mean, what does that mean? I mean, who disqualify him from who? I mean, who's gonna fucking go up to Trump and be like, "You're out, Trump. You're out. Too racist. You gotta go. You gotta go, Trump." I understand Gary Johnson is trying to attack Trump, is trying to get Republicans who are disenfranchised with the party to jump onto his ship. But I think this lame line of attack, this lame, he's a racist line of attack has got to go. This is not effective against Trump. It's not the best strategy against Trump. You're never going to beat Trump by calling him racist over and over again. If anything, it just kind of makes the word racist seem diminished. You know, to me, a racist is someone who's like, fucking niggers are ruining America. That's a racist. Trump isn't that way, at least not in public. He's never said anything that I could say is overtly racist. He said things that are race-baity. He said things that I think are kind of xenophobic. But I've never heard him say something that I was like, that is 100% definitely a racist statement. He's flirted with that edge. He's flirted with that line. But he's not crossed it. And I think it's unfair to make these sort of judgment calls against him. Teacher resigns after student reports they had oral sex. Now, the reason I like this story is that there was this 41-year-old teacher named Catherine Paletti who she blew a teenager in one of her classes. Let's see, how old was the kid? I can't fucking find his age here, but he was under 17. The thing is that she is saying that she was the victim of sexual assault. Now, it goes through this article. It basically talks about how she invited the teen, who is age redacted, to her apartment to play with her Xbox. They frequently rode around in the car together. They occasionally made out. She seduced him. She performed oral sex on him, stroking his body. Said that he had nice abs, and showed a shirtless photo of him to her friend on her cell phone and stuff. And then after all that, she said that she did not consent to have sex with him. She was victimized by him, and she was a victim of sexual assault. Yeah, she's the victim. She's the victim. She takes an underage kid. She bribes him with Xbox games, drives him around in her car, seduces him on the couch, makes out with him all the time, shows her friend pictures of him shirtless and talks about how nice his abs are, performs oral sex on him 3 times on 3 separate occasions, and then at the end of it says, I was victimized. He raped me. Yeah, I hope you go to jail. I hope you go to jail for at least a couple years. You probably won't. So, what is this? This isn't anything. I don't care about that. All right, well, here's an article. This is written by a trans person. This is a open letter to Caitlyn Jenner. Dear Caitlyn, stop. Please stop. Dear Caitlyn, much as I'm reluctant to further any infighting within the transgender and gender non